Hamujambo tena. Chamige. Ero soba. Eserian bogin. Karam. Muriaseo. Muga. Ejokona. Bas, mujipigia makofi. I can see. You know, it is not the complete absence of water. It is the management of water. It is our ability to store water for future use. That is what is in question, and that is why we are meeting here today. And I agree with those who have said it is not a new question, but it's a question that perhaps has a lot more urgency. I'll tell you, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, speaking on the same issue, had this to say, that water is one of the most important basic resources. It is indispensable to not only human life, but also for agricultural and industrial development. Water must be treated differently from other natural resources, such as minerals, which can be preserved in their natural form and saved until required later. So that if only a little is used in our generation, more will be available in the next. The flowing water of a river cannot be preserved in this way, and any water unused today is lost to useful purpose forever. Each year by which development is delayed diminishes the potential value of life-giving water to mankind. Also, uncontrolled flowing water is a major cause of human suffering, and I'm sure you have seen that in the last couple of weeks. But regulated and put to use, the same water is the basis of life and civilization and good. So these words of Mzee Kenyatta were true then as they are today. And it is a bit more than that. As both the CEO and the chair of the Water Providers Association pointed out, the Constitution, Katiba ya Kenya, commands that we must provide clean water, clean and safe water to all our people. You've also been told that Laikipia is in fact water insecure, and this is true. And you were told by the County Commissioner that approximately 31% of our households have access to clean water. In the domestic use, we have approximately 507 small water clusters that provide services to market centers, institutions, and settlement schemes. But of course, the distribution of water resources is uneven, so that areas, particularly of northern Laikipia, as well as in other areas, for example, Salama Ward, experiencing serious water shortages. Now, we have just a bit over 100,000 households. We estimate 115,000. Of those, 14% are the ones who can access water from their dwelling. Only 14%. And another 10% can get water within 4 minutes of where they live. The rest of us are water insecure. For instance, 25% of the households have to take up to 15 minutes to get to where the water source is. 44% of the households take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes to get to the water source. And the remaining 6% can take well over an hour to get to a point where they can find water. Now, we estimate that domestic demand is in the region of 50,000 cubic meters per day. Now, we already know this, I'm sure. But climate change is only making things worse. And therefore, I'm sure we all agree, we cannot be food secure if we only depend on rainfall or rain-fed agriculture. Yet, you know, we have more than 200,000 hectares, not acres, 200,000 hectares of land that can be irrigated in this county. So far, approximately 20% is under active production. So, we want to build bulk water storage for production purposes in order to bring this over 200,000 hectares into active production. It has already been emphasized here that this question of water is key to the realization of the President's Big Four. And our able MC did tell you that for us to effectively bring this sector to where it should be, we estimate we need 15 billion shillings. And between now and 2022, out of equitable share that the county gets, we expect to be able to invest 1 billion. So what this means is that there is an investment opportunity of 14 billion. That's what it is. There's an investment opportunity of 14 billion. Now what we've done, and thank you MC for pointing it out, in this booklet, if you look from page 8 onwards, what you will find is a very detailed project pipeline. You know, I was rather hoping that Silma would smile for being impressed, because in the finance world we talk about project pipeline. And because our friends from CPA and other financial sector players are here. Now, what are we talking about? We have a detailed list of upwards of 250, I believe, projects, some in various stages of design, which we would like you to take an interest in, a commercial interest, which we would like our water companies and the financiers to take an active interest in. And I want to give you the example of Wangwashi Dam. Wangwashi Dam at the moment, this is out in Olmoran Ward. Wangwashi, or you might find it at page 9 or page 10. Wangwashi is a small dam. It has 100,000 cubic meters of water. It's on 74 acres of land. But it supports nearly 500 acres of mainly tomato production. Now that's significant income. And we believe, our experts estimate that if we invest a further 60 million shillings, we can double the number of hectares or acres that are under production in that area of Wangwashi, bringing the total estimated income annually to something like 1.2 billion from that dam. So one of the reasons we are holding this conference is to discuss that step. And I'm glad the speaker spoke to the question of the Water Users Association. Now the water users of Wangwashi, we would like them to get together with Nanyuki Water and Sewage Company and organize financing from the financiers here to be able to clean up, desilt the dam and double its capacity, and therefore the income and production that can come from it. I think you've all decided to join Resilma. You don't sound impressed, why? Hakuna makofi? There you are. Now, so we are here for those reasons, to innovate around how we can finance, how we will finance water for production. We are here so that we can ask the questions of our time. What strategies, what investments, what partnerships are available for bulk water supply for domestic, irrigation, and manufacturing use? And this is not just in Laikipia, this is across the country, in all the counties. We want to investigate what role the water companies must play in these modern times. In our case, Nanyuki Water and Nanyuki Water. What role must they play in achieving the objectives we have set ourselves to? And thank you, Speaker, because we want to ask the questions here. What incentives, what kind of investment climate is required to incentivize private sector to be involved in providing water for agriculture and industrial production? What governance mechanisms do we need and I'm sure all of you and all the citizens have these and many more questions. So I think we have a wonderful platform to discuss over the next 2 days these questions. And I want to just say for myself and for my government that we believe that water not stored now to be used later, water that is not stored now is water lost forever. So we must make it a top investment priority, the storage of water for use. Now, a few days ago, water resource users associations, various community forest associations, rural women groups, and pastoralist groups met here in Nanyuki in preparation for this conference. And this meeting deliberated on various issues that citizens hold dear insofar as water provision and governance is concerned. And the citizens are here, and I hope they will speak to the question of how they see resolution or they see the opportunities in the water sector. And I want to thank the various institutions that facilitated their meeting. So, as a county, what is our strategy? I think you've already understood it from my words so far. We want to create robust water banks, or reservoirs if you like, to store water for productive purposes. We want to develop robust governance mechanisms so that, for example, the Rua of Wangwashi, with a technical partner like Nanyuki Water, works to improve the governance from the users, including determining what tariff they might pay for the use of this resource. Just now in the mid-90s, I think it is, so that governments were looked upon to finance health and education. But around that time, new thinking was coming into the play, that in fact, private sector could invest in health and in education. So you began to see private hospitals and clinics and diagnostic centers. You began to see private schools and universities. You may think that it is a trend that has been with us for a long time. It hasn't. It's quite recent. And so we are very pleased in this conference because we have financiers here. And we want to persuade all of you that it's time has come to bring private sector money to invest in water, particularly water for production, but also water for consumption. So I thank you very much indeed.